It's 2022, that means it's time for our budget review. I'm gonna take a look at last year's budget, and then I'm gonna kind of give you some of our projections for 2022. But before I do that, I want you to know I get excited when I get to give this report because I'm at awe with how generous the Heights Church is. And I want to give a big shout out to our church council and treasurer because they put in a ton of work to make sure that we're managing God's resources here at the Heights Church and to help put a budget together. So let's jump in. We're going to start at 2020 and 2021. In 2020, the general budget total was $284,995. Our income, tithable, you'll see is $304,738. And then we have other gifts that come in that aren't just tithable income. We call them transformed gifts, was $131,497. Our expenses for the general budget was $248,211. Total spent on building was $299,000. And so you notice that we kept on saving money each year on our budget. In 2021, our general budget was $276,000, pretty close to the year before. We have some other expenses, our income coming in, which was about $50,000 to a total budget of $325,000. Our actual income for 2021 was $322,000. And we had some other income come in, which we had some church planting money come in for Wayne and Anton, Transform, and other gifts. We're about $241,000. And so here's the part. What are our actual expenses last year? Our general budget, we spent $333,000. It was definitely up from what we budgeted. And we spent on our building $358,864. Some of those extra expenses were the money that we spent on the refueler that we didn't budget for. And so when we looked at our tithable income end of year budget, we were about $8,575,000 under budget. So overall, council, great job. I know that was a lot of numbers very quick. You can go back and reference those numbers under the app, under Grow and Go. I'll leave those up for a few weeks. We're also going to have a business meeting on January 30th after both services. We'll go a little bit more in depth on the numbers then. But for just a moment, I want to give you a quick snapshot on some of the areas and the resources we invest into God's kingdom. For Transform, that's our remodel account. We spent $358,000 on this facility. Total spent on remodel to date is roughly $650,000, not to include some of the regular costs. We spent, or we invested and gave away in outreach and missions, $46,665. We spent on discipleship, $16,734. And then on this facility was $76,000. So those are just a quick view of some of our things that we invested into. Currently, right now, we have in the bank account, checking $48,000, savings roughly $95,000, and in the refueler account $8,000. It's amazing in the midst of such a crazy year that we're able to invest in the mission of what the Heights Church is doing in our community and way beyond. I'm excited for what he's going to do next year. So let's take a look at the budget for 2022. The budget for 2022 is $389,000. Our projected income from just tithable income that we guess is $258,000, which is actually less than last year. Our projected Davenport Heights income will be the first time will be $41,000. And so we think that other resources will come in from planting, transform, remodel, mission trips will be about $90,000. Our projected tithable income did go down from last year. We saw over the last 5 or 6 months a 5 to 10% drop. So we made that adjustment as we set our income for next year off what we think the tithe will be. Even with our drop of giving, we still plan on increasing some of our giving in our outreach, in our missions, discipleship, and we even dropped some of our expenses in facilities. Let's take a look. Outreach and missions from $46,000 last year to about $55,000 this year. Discipleship, we're going to go from $16,000 to $31,000. In facilities, it dropped. We saved some money on insurance, and we're starting to figure out what our expenses are for this building. Thanks again for sticking with me. As I've talked about giving, I wanted to again say thank you to all the generosity of our Heights Church family and all the work of our council and treasurer.